Greetings. My name is Luis Molina, and I'm the host of the Life Puro podcast. Today, I have with me Chris Arolfo, who is the founder and owner of Cabal Cigars, a small boutique company, but I would consider them more of like a good cigar nerd cigar. And with that, Chris, welcome to the show. How are you, buddy?
Cigar nerd.
Yeah, which is
works.
a term of endearment.
No, I'm definitely nerdy.
Yeah.
In all the right ways.
How long have you been? How you been, man? It's been a while.
It's been way too long.
I know.
I think 2019.
Was that the last? I saw you at the trade show.
I know we've seen each other.
Yeah.
Me being out to the store, I haven't been here since the new shop.
Yeah.
I haven't. I just haven't made my way out here in a while. I run into you or talk to you, but
yeah, I see you at the trade show every year. I'm sure you go every year. Maybe we just maybe miss each other some years.
Well, you don't stay long.
I know. That's true.
You're there for like an hour.
I know. There was that one year, I don't know if you heard,
done.
that I'd wanted just as a personal challenge to fly in the morning of the show, do all the business I had to do, and unfortunately, I couldn't see everyone. But I had like the itinerary down. Like, I think I skipped lunch that day.
And
then left that night.
Fine. Yeah, the lunch isn't while you're there.
Yeah, I know, right?
For sure.
They used to give like the meal tickets too. They dropped that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about time.
Yeah.
Because I went for years as I used to manage shop in Webster.
Yeah.
A smoke ring, and it was just expected. You get there, you get your pass, you get your 3 lunches.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you don't get when you start having your own booth? Free lunch.
Oh no.
And nobody like knew that either, and I didn't know it. You pay thousands to be there. You don't get a free lunch ticket. So when a couple years ago they stopped giving free lunch tickets to the actual shops,
the exhibitors,
I was like, yeah, how's that feel?
Oh, to the shops.
Yeah, because we're working and we don't even get free food.
I know. Yeah.
But it's better to bring in your own food anyway. So
yeah, and it's not like the food available there is like, it's okay.
it's never good. Any convention.
Yeah.
But I think it would be impossible for what you were trying to achieve.
Well, and there
a one-day thing.
Right.
Maybe if it was here in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Like next year, I think you could probably do it.
Yeah.
You could just get down there and come back.
Oh, exactly. And then also with my father, who I don't think you've ever met.
I've met him.
You did? Okay.
At the other shop. Did he run the Covington shop too?
Yeah, for a few years.
I met him there and talked, but it was after like we were already working together. So it was just like, hi, sir. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Was he intimidating? You can be honest.
I would say like, I could see how people would get that vibe, but I think he's just a cigar dude. You know, like people tell me that I'm intimidating, and that blows my mind.
Really?
Like, I'm a furry little teddy bear. Like,
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, you're approachable.
So
you're just awesome.
I think like cigars like just intimidate people. They're like, he seemed nice, but he had this like stinky thing in his hand.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you know what? I
didn't think it was intimidating. He was quiet, but he was nice, and he seemed very business forward.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, but once you get to know him, I mean, he'll just joke with you. He's a prankster.
Yeah.
But I guess that's just by his nature. And I mean, I have this topic we discussed throughout the podcast. I guess we've seen so much turnover in the industry with like sales reps and people jumping ship. It's like
you and Polar probably talked about that the other day.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit, not too much. Yeah, but other episodes we've talked about.
But how many years have you been doing it?
Let's see. I first got in the business in 2003.
Okay.
And I used to work for Don Juan Cigar, and they are owned by a large C-store wholesaler out of Harahan.
Were they then at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then, so I actually helped open up the Don Juan in town in 2006.
Okay. The big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And then at one point, I think we had 3 stores. And so, like, between my father and I, because my father and I used to work there, and that's how we got our experience in the business.
Okay.
And also working, like, from a C-store wholesaler perspective. So we would deal with, like, bigger volume, calling on, like, hotels, casinos, bars, other resellers, instead of just, other cigar shops.
Yeah, it wasn't just a shop.
Yeah. So we have a little bit more, a different perspective than maybe some other shop owners. But where was I going with this? I lost my train of thought.
If I had met him, and that's where you started, I asked how long you've been doing this.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, and so, going back to the point of, like, we've seen so many reps, like, change. Turnover. And so maybe, I don't know if that's maybe part of the reason why we're like, all right, we're just going to wait. Yeah. We're going to wait. Like, visit us, like, 3, 4, 5 times, and then, all right, then we can open up and just kind of let our hair down.
Well, it takes time too. Like just to see if people have legs.
Yeah.
Not even the people running it, but like the business.
Yeah.
It's changed. I started smoking cigars in 2002, 2003.
Okay.
I got my first job at the cigar shop in 2005.
Okay.
So then I ran a shop until 2013. So 8 years I did that.
Uh-huh.
And then that's when I crossed over into making my own cigar. But yeah, man, 20 years, like
Yeah.
21 years now, 22.
Yeah.
It changes. But there's also like a lot of just old dogs that keep on ticking, from shops to brands to
And consumers.
everyone. Consumers too. Yeah.
Yep.
It's interesting though.
Yeah. I remember when you worked at that shop, because I don't know if you know, you and I met in 2012
Where?
at the My Father Cigar trip, the factory trip. Weren't you on that trip?
Yeah. No, I wasn't on that trip. I was down there at the same time.
Oh, okay.
I was down there and Larry was too. We weren't riding on the bus. We were too
That's
cool
right.
for school, and we had a rent car that we paid for. But we were down there checking out other factories. And
Okay.
we had the same reps. And yeah,
That's
you're
right.
That is correct. I remember.
'Cause
that.
I remember
But, like,
seeing you there.
We were already in Esteli when you came up
that's right.
to Esteli for the trip. So like we drop in and we did all like the toury stuff, but we were staying in a different hotel. And I think on that, I forgot why, other than just enjoying Esteli and checking out other places. We were there at the same time. But yeah.
Yeah, just kind of
we were on that. I remember
re-intersected.
that was a good trip.
Yeah. That was, they
that
gave
was a
us,
while back.
yeah, that was 2012. That was the year they gave us samples of this unbanded cigar. They were going to launch that year. It was the Flor de las Antillas.
Yeah, it was on Tias.
Before they released it.
Yeah.
So even then we were like smoking this.
And somebody, did you win the big Jaime Garcia box?
I did.
It was you.
Yep.
Yeah, I was
Yep.
so jealous, man.
Yep.
I was like pissed actually.
Man, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
We
I
actually have
forgot
that.
about it. I didn't
No,
even smoke 'em.
we have it in our vault.
It is, yeah.
Dude, yeah, in our memory store. We
Yeah.
have a lot of.
I was jazzed for that, man. I wanted it. And then I watched you take it and I was like, wow.
Oh.
He's a neighbor. That's okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If we ever crack that box,
I think I
one
have to.
cigar
I have to. Yeah.
is yours.
Cool. We
Yeah.
won't tell Larry, like the shop owner there. We won't tell him. I'll just smoke it. He won't care.
Yeah. That was smoke rings, you said?
The Smoke Ring
The smoke ring. Okay.
in Webster, and Tyler runs it now. And if you follow his social media, it's a trip.
Okay.
So you should check out the Smoke Ring.
Absolutely. Because I'm a nerd, like just like you, I'm sure, or an enthusiast of the industry, right? Like.
I don't think that's a bad word. I think nerd's a good word.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite new shirts is from Streetlight Manifesto, but at the bottom, like it's got a cool logo and all their stuff, but then at the bottom it says, "Cool music for nerds who like music."
Nice. Yeah.
But
The title's fitting,
no,
right?
I think if we weren't passionate, we wouldn't be into it. You wouldn't be taking a different angle with it. I wouldn't be sticking around with it. I'm not in it for money. I just like tobacco in it. If I was in it for money, I would have given up a long time ago. This is just spreading something that should never go away. This is something that was here before us, and if we do it right, we can keep it going after us.
Yeah.
I think it's just cool. I think every time I smoke a cigar, especially in company, I think it's just a basic human community that's really, really cool.
That's right.
And expanding it to people, I think, is even cooler. And I don't ever want to stop making cigars, smoking cigars, talking about cigars.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Well, and look, I think it's something primal. And for people who've seen our first episode, I interviewed a good friend of mine I've known for, about over 20 years, Greyhawk Perkins, Native American of the Choctaw and Houma Nations. And I met him through the cigar shop world. And I used to just give him tobacco leaves because he would use it in his prayer rituals.
Wow.
Those nations are more of what they call mound people. So like they built like these little hills they call mounds. And he's still allowed to go on those mounds and pray and sit down and pray.
Oh.
But he uses tobacco in his rituals. So it just goes back to
That's just where it all came from.
the Native Americans being the first people to use tobacco. And they viewed it as a holy thing. Right. So that whole dynamic and issue and it like for some of us, like we get cigars right away. Others maybe are like puzzled, like I still don't get cigars. What's the
grow
point?
into it too, I think.
Yeah, you can grow into it too.
But
I'm sure.
I like that primal sense. I think you kind of do know if you're a cigar smoker from the get go. Because I was smoking trash when I was in college. I just knew I didn't want to smoke cigarettes, you know. But like a lot of my buddies did, and at parties I didn't like all the noise and ruckus. So I hung out with the smokers outside because we could have a conversation and hang and drink a beer.
That's right.
So I for some reason wanted to try a cigar, and I went to gas station cigars, and they were awful, but I did enjoy that it kept me grounded. It kept me outside. It kept me talking. People saying, you know, this smells good, or what? Even if it was trash, like it was just something to help smooth out the conversation. Except my taste buds would swell up, and I would scrub my tongue for like an hour afterwards. They made me itch, and I'm talking like Black and Mild.
Yeah, I was gonna say
like
for the mass market.
Yeah,
Phillies.
Phillies. I think like some honey Phillies was like one of the first things I ever smoked.
Oh man!
But I knew the action was there.
Yep.
And in 2002 and 3, like you couldn't even like find out information about cigars. So I was just like, there has to be something better. Like Googling it meant nothing. So I had to find a cigar shop. And the second I really saw that there was an industry behind it and there was something better, I just grew into it. I was just constantly curious.
Yeah.
I still am. And I think that's kind of it. Like, if you give it to somebody and they puke and they're like, no, I'll never do it again. I was dizzy. Like, well, it's probably not for you.
Right.
But the first beer you ever had was probably shit, too. You know, like.
Tequila, that was it for, like, tequila with me.
Yeah.
I had bad tequila. I was like, ugh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But then I got over that, like, years later, fortunately. Like, I was able to figure out, oh, wait, that's the rot gut stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was a college kid, didn't respect it. Now I love tequila as a drink.
I never had, like, an inkling to even, like, get into trying different drinks and stuff. The only like close thing I had to, it was my grandpa always had like a Budweiser in his hand, and at some point in childhood he was like, you want to try it? I took a sip and I hated it till I was like 19, 20 at a college party, and I'm like, come on, drink it. And I was just kind of like, okay, it's all right. And then I found craft beer. I found, oh, there's better stuff. And it wasn't even craft back in 2003, you know. It was imports but better beer and better tobacco.
Yeah.
But it could be off-putting at first. All of them, anything.
Right.
Like you said, tequila. I'm really into mezcal now.
Oh, yeah, me too, yeah.
And people are, they're so knee-jerk reaction about it.
Yeah.
They think there's still worms in it. They think it just tastes like an ashtray. And I'm like, no, there's a million of them. Yeah. You know? So it's just, if you kind of like it, dig into it some. And I think that's where the cigar industry is now. I think there's a lot of new smokers because it's so easy to dig into and learn about it, which wasn't there. I was driving to Barnes & Noble and ordering books through them to learn more about cigars back in 2003. Like, because there was nothing. Like, you couldn't even, like, Google articles on cigars.
Yeah, like, I remember the early days, like, in those days, I mean, Cigar Family, the forum, the Arturo Fuente forum was a huge resource. You had these forums, and this was obviously before Facebook, right, came about. So I think, like...
And they were awful for me. Like, I hated that format.
Yeah,
but it was the only place I could get information.
I didn't like it either.
And good for them, but it's all we had. You know, we had, like, geo sites and stuff.
And then Steve Saka ran a page, I think it's called Cigar Nexus. He was, like, one of the early people to disseminate cigar information on the internet. And then you had Perlman's Pocket Cyclopedia. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The cigar cyclopedia, I mean.
And it was almost like a yearly thing.
No, well, so
Like
it was an annual printing.
Yeah.
And it was a huge, thick book. I think we still have some of those old. I think his last printings were like in the mid 2000s. But he also did a weekly email newsletter about the industry. And so he was like the half wheel of his day. And I was just really sad that
again, that was like
had to close.
In the industry. Like being just a college student that, hey, this one tastes good.
Yeah.
Why? Finding that information, like, you could have opened a website and just made up whatever you wanted.
Right.
You know? Like, and I would have been like, oh, wow, I didn't know it came from rabbits. You know, like, there's no reason back then. Now I can type in any cigar and find all the information and it's getting better and better, and
Yep.
quality's getting better. But
Yep. Before we continue, let's do you want to explain the cigar?
yeah, you
That
have
I'm about to light?
the
Yeah.
front end, and then you taste it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's new to me.
That's
Nice.
my
See,
cigar,
I learn everything. Yeah, learn something new every
I'm
day.
here to walk you through it.
Yeah,
It's a reach for me, but I can hold your hand.
yeah. Nice.
So I'll give you a short of it and why I'm smoking what I'm smoking. This is my newest cigar.
Okay.
Cabal is the overall brand. That's me, Cabal Cigars. Initiative is my newest blend. It's only in one size right now. I'm working with Ostos over at Tabacalera La Isla. This is our first endeavor together with a cigar. It came out last year. Really, really kind of a re-envisioning of what I wanted to start when I started my company 10 years ago. Important to me, I went with the name Initiative because it's really a re-initiative for me to get into why I got into this anyway, to keep doing it. So this is just invigorating. And when I met Ostos, it kind of all came together like that. Our palates worked very well together. It was easy to kind of zone in with him and blend with him. And the way his factory is, you've been there.
No, actually, I haven't been yet.
Not.
I haven't been there yet.
I think I asked Francis about that. He said you haven't been, but you got cigars from him.
Yeah.
But go. It's incredible because it's just like a distilled down version of, if you've been doing it as long as we have, how you would lay out a factory and everything. So everything kind of rolled together real good, and I wanted to come to market quick. So the band is my old band, but without the QR on it. It'll have a secondary band in the future, but I always wanted to sell in 10-count boxes. I always wanted my cigars not in cellophane with that unfinished foot. It's a Corojo wrapper. It's got a lot of Nicaraguan in the filler, but it's a nice, unique blend that's kind of any time of the day, I feel. But vibrating there. It's something I just wanted. I wanted a pocket cigar for myself. I wanted just a blend that I could smoke anytime, a new flavor that wasn't like what I still make with KBF. I wanted to kind of tie in, and Kyle from Warp Cigars had hooked me up with Ostos a year and a half before when he started working with him. He said, "Hey man, you should check him out. He's a cool dude." I'll talk to Kyle from time to time, and it was real easy off the bat, and I think that's what you taste. It's just an easy smoke. I think for a new guy, it's got a little beef to it. I think for somebody who smokes all the time, it's just a great anytime cigar, and it is for me. It's a breakfast smoke or an end of the day smoke. The wrapper, I never really had an intent to go with a Corojo wrapper, but anytime I've blended a cigar, I don't have a wrapper in mind to start. I have like a taste or a profile. So we found that. Ostos helped me find it because of the flavor profile more than anything. And if you look at it, I don't think it looks like a Corojo. It's kind of a darker priming, but really flavorful. That little puff off the unfinished foot, I've always dug, and all my cigars will always have that going forward. But it's just a 10-count box. It'll also be in bundles. I have a couple cabinets of 50 that'll go away, but I always wanted a cabinet of cigars, so now I made some cabinets, and if a shop buys the 50-count cabinet, they can refill with the bundles, or you can sell with the bundles, but just one size, one price, $10 retail without Louisiana taxes.
Right.
But really cool stuff in the future that I'm going to be able to do with them. We're working on we've come up with a 10-year blend that's kick-ass. It'll be box pressed. More of that will come out this year, but he's really awesome to work with, just as much as Hendrik Kellner Jr., who I've started with 10 years ago. They're just two very awesome, real people, and it was easy to say, like, okay, if I'm not working with Hendrik and I'm gonna expand my branches to somewhere else, who's that level? Who's like Hendrik level? And Ostos is right there, man. He's tobacco. He gets it. He's passionate. He's an awesome guy, and this is the first showcase from me with him that I think is a great way to start.
Yeah. No, and you bring up, I guess your introduction to Hostos. I mean, that's how we found out who La Isla was. It was through Kyle. It was through Warp Cigars. I mean, they're probably, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first customers of Hostos to like really put his name out. I could be wrong, but that was for me.
He was the first, but he was definitely.
He was the one. Like for me, that's how I found out who La Isla was.
I was like, oh, okay. Like when he, what was his first one?
The Chinchal.
Yeah, Chinchal.
Which makes sense, right? It's like tribute to, I guess, Hostos' operation, right?
Small factory, little guy, kind of. It's right, and his second cigar from him kind of sealed the deal for me.
That was the dark one, the Companion.
Yeah. I already liked the Chinchal, and I was like, okay, this guy's making good cigars. I bought a bunch of them. I like this factory. I'll have to go and see Hostos when I'm down there again. And then the Companion, I was like, okay, this guy gets it. This is along, the flavors that I like, that the industry likes, and I've always made cigars for me. But not just like, oh man, it tastes good and you should like it. I've made cigars that I had to make because I don't taste that in the industry. Like there's just, everybody's got their own flavor, and if I'm just making a cigar,
to emulate someone else.
Not just slapping a private label on something. Like, I think not everybody goes to the factories. Not everybody gets the whole idea, and they blow themselves up into this.
Bigger persona than they are.
Field. People can't pronounce my last name, Arolfo. It has nothing to do with tobacco. That's the last thing I would put on a cigar, But Cabal is about cigars. Like, we're just a group of people who like the same thing.
Yeah.
So this is Hostos, La Isla, Counter Boutique Factory. They're all just extensions of what I think cigar smoking is, and it's just an experience from beginning to end.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool, and even I mean we've carried your line of cigars through Kellner Made. I think early on, I meant to look up the invoice, the first invoice.
Yeah,
we have it like in our records, but it was a while ago. I mean, I remember carrying it in our old location here.
I'd say it was probably around 14, 15. I mean, I came to market in 13.
Okay.
So this is technically my 11th year, but the smokes take time. But yeah, it was probably around 14 or 15. I was really, really on the road. 13, 14, 15. FDA kind of scared me.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. Maybe I should do something else. So that's where that's where my beer bar came in, and life was okay. Let's figure out what the cigar industry is doing. And I think now the whole industry realizes, okay, FDA is working the right way. There's a lot of interest. Sales are up. Post-pandemic. So it's a lot more steady.
Yeah.
Then it kind of was scary there for a few years. And we'll
a lot
never
of
be past
uncertainty.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was right about that 15, 16. And I don't remember. I'm sure you came by the booth, but I think I had come here before the couple times. I went 3 times. I showcased it. Then PCA, or not PCA,
IPCPR. Yeah.
I think of RTDA.
Yeah,
still.
me too.
I don't want to say that, but
yeah. Showing our age.
Yeah, it's been a long time. But
when was your first trade show attendant? It was as a shop.
Yeah, it was. It was with the Smoke Ring. I always want to say it was 2005. It's hard to remember.
In New Orleans?
Was that New?
Was
Orleans?
it New Orleans?
I feel like that was 2006, because I want to. It was 05 or 06. I'm pretty positive it was 05 was the year I went. But I want to say that was the Houston show.
So, do you remember the first city?
I want to say the first show I went to was Houston.
Was Houston. Yeah, that was 06 then. Because 05 was the first.
05 was New Orleans.
Yeah, because I was working for Imperial Trading, and it was 2 weeks before Katrina.
Oh, no.
So, okay, and I was in New Orleans.
Was my first show.
I was in New Orleans then.
Okay.
And I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that timeline. To not forget that. Yeah, yeah.
And then it was in Houston. It was in Houston the next year because I remember okay, at least it's close by New Orleans, post Katrina. That was fun. That was an interesting show in Houston.
It was. It was. I mean, for me, I didn't have anything to compare it to at the time, and it was nice to just get in my car and drive to the show, and I'm pay for parking, do my thing, go home. I think I still would have gone. That was really my first full year at the cigar shop, and my old boss was always supportive of bringing the staff and
That's cool.
and taking our input. You know, what do you think? Will this sell? How's it taste? What did you smoke that I didn't? But having it at home the first year was kind of nice.
Yeah.
And then I guess the next year was like, or the next couple years was Vegas.
Yeah, I think it was Vegas in 7.
I think it was like 2 years of Vegas and then like
Yep.
2 years of.
And then it came back to New Orleans in 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somewhere in there was Orlando.
Yep, that's right.
That was different. But yeah, it's been almost 20 years of shows too.
Mm-hmm.
But too, like every time I go to the show, I talk to people. How many shows you been to? Oh, this is my first one and stuff. So a lot of new faces have come and gone.
Right.
But
it is always cool to see like the people that you kind of grew up with in the industry still coming back. You know.
Well, and that like the Houston show that year, we were going through this. The whole city of Houston had approved, but it hadn't been ratified or whatever. Our smoking ban. So like we were right under it, and there's not many places anyway. Even in 2005, there weren't too many places you could just go and smoke. But I do remember being in that Hilton and everybody smoking in the lobby and stuff, which was nuts.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
And like every chick like running the counters and stuff, they were all wearing masks. They were all upset. But it was cool. It was just down the street. Like I didn't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But after that show, right before they signed it into law, the city changed the wording and said, no more smoking in Houston, except for cigar bars and tobacco shops were already underneath that. But conventions are okay. They made like a byline after the PCA. So like technically it could go back to Houston because they were like, it's okay. And I was like, that was like a huge like, oh, okay, well, money obviously talks. Because conventions are okay for smoking, apparently still in Houston, to my knowledge. Well, but that was interesting. And then a couple years later, and I had a booth at the time. Was the first New Orleans show when they
in 2010?
Yeah, whatever year it was that they said no more smoking. I feel like that was like 15 when New Orleans went non-smoking.
Yeah, and it went New Orleans. There was one in New Orleans in 2010. Then I think another in 2015.
Yeah, I think it was 15 because I had a booth. Was it
the first year Nick Melillo showed?
I had a booth.
Because I think
I was looking at my booth like the whole time.
No.
I feel like Nick
but I think you and he like had your first trade show at the same year.
New Orleans
and it was at New Orleans in 2015.
I think it was, and then it was Vegas after. Because I drove all my stuff. My dad was here. It was cool. Like, but yeah, it was. Was it his brand? Nick came out with his stuff then. Foundation.
I only remember that year. It was in New Orleans because there's a well-known picture that we like refer to in our company of. We got a shot of my father talking with Nick, and Pops is like just giving like this pensive, deep thinking pose while Nick is like animated, like discussing. And so I remember that was in New Orleans because Pops he can't really make it out to like Las Vegas or
tough on everybody.
Yeah, far away
from
shows.
Your business for that long too. Like,
so those are like the only times he can make it to the show is like when it's in New Orleans. Maybe in Houston. That'd be cool. I'd like to see it go back to Houston.
Yeah, I doubt it'll ever happen again. But like I said, on the books, it could.
Well, I think New Orleans had to do something similar too because New Orleans went non-smoking in 2007, and they always, I guess, left that clause. Or I think they pay a penalty, which they're fine with. But yeah, for to allow smoking in New Orleans,
at least for April next year, it won't be as hot as it was the last time it was out there. That was the hottest I've ever been.
Oh yeah, we're a sauna. We're something in August and July.
And I'm used to I'm from Houston, so it's pretty easy to just be living in Satan's balls.
Yeah.
But like, man, that year it was like you couldn't even smoke on the streets because there was nowhere inside. So it was like, okay, we'll just walk around the quarter and smoke a cigar. I made it like 20 feet. My dad was like, "It's okay." I'm like, "No, Dad, we need to go." Like, just drenched in sweat. Yeah. It was terrible.
It could be dangerous.
So April could be way better.
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt, it won't be August.
Yeah, April's a good month. March is a good month for New Orleans. So I'm excited to see the trade show coming back to New Orleans next year.
I like it because it's close. Like I'll probably just drive. I flew out this time to New Orleans, and then I'm driving back home right now.
Okay.
So I can just kind of take my time getting back. But
Yeah. Well, before I have another question about your bar business. I got to tell you, this cigar is awesome. And I'm not just saying that because you're here, but what you're smoking is our stuff made by Hostos. But this is all this stuff is good, but I can tell like this is where I mean the money is right for what you're getting on this.
Yeah.
Very the wrapper's really oily compared to like ours.
What was on this?
That is the Ecuador, Connecticut. Okay. That's our Serie España Cordoba. Made by Hostos. I think it's a 5x50. And this one is what in terms of format?
5x48.
5x48. Okay. I like the touch that you want all your cigars to have that close foot.
I just always liked it. It's probably Pete Johnson's fault for turning me on to having a foot fetish. But
like Quentin Tarantino?
Maybe it was Tarantino. Take it back to that.
Yeah.
I love that like meme. Like he wrote a character that put Selma Hayek's like feet in his mouth and then cast himself in that character for like Dusk Till Dawn. He's like, did you think about it? Like he wrote that character and then like anyway.
I didn't know that.
My fetish isn't that strong.
Yeah.
For cigars.
Yeah.
And putting the wrong end in my mouth. But I've always liked that little pop, and I'm sure other cigars had done it, but I remember back like when the first Black Label jar came out, and he was real adamant about that foot, and it was just like, wow, that's great. And then every now and then like cigars come out with that, and it's a point of contention for me with like KBF. And when I started working with Hendrick, I was like, I want to have like an unfinished foot, and showed him products, and I said, just do it like this. And he's like, oh, in production, I don't know. And me and him started together. I was his first brand.
Wow.
So Kellner Boutique Factory, Hendrick Kellner, me and him spent the whole time before the factory was even open. So like at the time, he's like, I don't know how to do that, man. Like I've never done that. Let's just hold out on that. And then it was like a year later after we were like to market and everything. And he was like, Chris, I can do the foot for you now.
He figured it out. Huh?
I'm like, okay, good. Well, let's do that. He's like, yeah. No, it's very easy. I overthought it. I apologize. I'm like, it's okay. I like it.
Yeah.
But so now, I'll give you one before I go. But my Corona Gorda is still KBF. It's in a 10-count bundle now. But all future production are going to have that little foot. And it's nice on that because I have a very unique wrapper on my classic line. It's a Bonao. It's
okay.
Unique to my brand, and eventually we'll run out of that. But the Cotuí we're using now too is very, very close, grown by his sister. But it really just that pop at the beginning. Even making my classic that I've been making for 10 years, when we started like last year, selling with the unfinished foot, like it's just a nice way to start.
Wow.
But I'm glad you're digging it. Of course, I want everybody to like it, but I'm really, really proud of that one.
No, as you should be. It's awesome. And again, I'm not saying that because you're here, but
I was excited to hear you were working with Hostos too on your private stuff, and that's why I'm smoking this now. Really, really nice, little softer, drier.
Yeah.
On the start, but like the flavors coming up, it's kind of there are things reminiscent in here, but the body's definitely growing as it goes. It's not just like a Connecticut, which is a misnomer. It's just a color, like not all Connecticut's are created equally.
No, for sure. It's funny about that particular blend, the Cordoba, in that it was down to 2 blends before we made our final decision. I actually wanted to go with another blend, but the reason we went with this is that we tested it with several of our clients, our good clients, and they just gave this like overwhelming feedback to this one. I'm like,
and that's a great.
All right, you know what? We'll do this because y'all want it because you're gonna buy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ultimately, it wasn't my first choice. It's still good.
That's as a shop though.
But yeah, it's a business like
thing to have.
Yep, and that's a point, and I'm sure you know about this. A great shop can't just stock what they like.
Oh yeah.
They got to carry what sells ultimately.
Yeah, and it's tough too. Like at this time, I only have 2 sizes. I got a Corona Gorda and a Robusto. They're 2 different blends, and so I go to a shop that only sells, 660s. I don't have one at this time. I'm not against making one, but I'm also not going to rush to make one.
Yeah.
Because I've always liked all of my SKUs have always been Vitola specific. So I blend per size, And now with 2 different factories, it's going to get deeper. But it's changing the size changes a lot. And your customers have an affinity for one or the other for a reason, whatever sells, whatever they like, whatever robustness, it's all important. You have 1,000 for them to choose from. I got to distill it down, and I don't have a test audience to say, hey guys, what do you really think? People close to me and we smoke, and I put so much trust and love into the factories that I work with. They're awesome. I know it's going to perform, but it's finding the right shops to get it.
Yep.
I don't want to sell to every shop. I want to sell to shops like you guys and the small collection of shops that I have that they're going to put my cigar in somebody's hand. Say, hey, try this. You haven't tried one like this.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you considering us. I mean, we share similar philosophies, so it works in that regard. And we try, not always. I mean, I would be the type that would probably just give everyone a chance, at least a SKU or at least a few slots just to test it.
You got to try it.
Right?
Yeah. You got to know if it fits or not.
Yeah. But it's just, and now, and this is a common theme I talk about on this show is that, shops have a premium, for space, limited finite space, limited capital.
I mean, you got a lot more space now. But.
Yeah, now we have a lot more space. Yeah.
but no, you're absolutely right. There's
so
shelf
like
space,
what?
man.
So what
and that's the size of this box.
Oh, and that's very retail friendly.
Super part of it. But
Very
that's
retail
10 years of doing it. A $10 cigar or 10 count boxes weren't really an option when I started 10 years ago. I wanted it, but you pay more. It cost me more to make 10 count boxes.
Yeah.
And the popularity of 10 count boxes, I think, has changed in the last 10 years. People don't mind buying a 10 count box now. 20 count is what I wanted it to be, easy and clean. And but you got to be conscious of doing what's best for your shop. I mean, no, somebody walks in, don't just buy their cigar. But if you smoke it, you can give it a try, but it doesn't guarantee it's going to sell.
That's right.
But you can keep the connections with the guys that get it, brands that support you, and I support shops that support me, and vice versa. But if it just doesn't work in your shop, it's cool, man. Yeah. I'll let you try my next one, and we'll move on to the next. Right. It is what it is.
Because there have been brands that we've brought on that and we try to push them, man. And these are like small manufacturers, even not just the blenders, companies, but we try to go to bat for them, but for whatever reason, just our market just didn't.
There's truth to that, for sure. Some shops,
some shops are lazy
on it just doesn't sell, and on my side, I get a real feel of it doesn't sell because you're not selling it, right? And then I can also, like my ring gauge example, like I can also tell, like, I know you're trying for me, man, but I get it. It's just not it's just not working. I get that. And in my beer bar, it's the same. I mean, not everybody likes IPAs. Not everybody likes porters. Not everybody likes sours. And, you try. And God, over the last 8 years, there have been some breweries come and gone.
Yeah.
And
that industry is really
they just dump out, and not in a bad way, but they just dump out new beers every week. And you have to learn real quick, and you've done it in retail. I can't take it all. And even if I wanted to, it's not all going to sell.
Right.
I got to pick. I got to know what my customers drink. And there's 2 other really good beer bars a few miles each direction of me. And we do things differently, all 3 of us. But, what sells for them doesn't sell for me, and vice versa. And it's just time in the business and trust. It's not hard for me now, 8 years into my beer bar, telling them, nah, man, that won't sell. What else you got? Or come back to me with your next thing. As when you start, you're just like, oh man, let's try, dude. I love your brand. I love everything I drink from you. And then nobody's drinking it.
Yeah.
Cool. I tried a case, we'll try again. I'll put you back on tap in a couple months. Shops have personality. Bars have personality. The brands themselves have a personality to sell. And you just got to find what fits you.
Yeah.
Selection helps. Having a big humidor like you, it helps. Gives people a lot of options and reasons to come back.
Yeah. But look, I mean, we fall by that 80-20 rule as well in that, 80% of our revenue comes from 20% of the SKUs.
Absolutely.
Everything else is kind of, I don't want to say filler or fluff, but like it gives that impression, like you were insinuating that, wow, we're an authority. There's going to be something for everyone that comes through, hopefully,
Right.
through these doors.
Yeah,
you know?
you want to have an umbrella there,
Mhm.
to cover something for everybody. But absolutely, I think 80/20 is huge in my distribution side. I had 114 shops at my peak around 2016-17. 20 of those shops really, really kill it for me.
Wow,
For
okay.
whatever reason, those are the
Right.
dudes.
Right.
And like those guys still are my number ones.
Wow.
And it's hard. I can't, especially like opening the bar and going through all that
Mm-hmm.
and getting through just 2020. Like, okay, cool, the bar's leveling out, and then the pandemic hits, and then, life happens. Those guys still go to bat for me. But I also learned that, the industry's changed. You guys, everybody kind of gets it now. Like we can do this over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. What's going on? Oh, it's cool, man. Just send me a box and I'll see you, next year. I'll see you at the show. It's not as, road warrior, I feel, as it used to be. And I want to support those guys that just pick up the phone or call or just text me or send me a DM, on Instagram. I do a ton of Instagram business.
Come on.
Because hey,
Wow.
man, I saw you posted that. You come by the shop and I'm not going to make it out there for months. Like, can I send you something? Cool, blah, blah, blah. And then it's easy. It's way different than it was starting 10 years ago. If I wasn't on the road, I wasn't making sales. Now I want to do more sales, but, just selective.
Mm-hmm.
Go where I need to, go where I want to. Like, I really just wanted some gumbo, so I flew into New Orleans.
Oh, come on.
No, I did want some food, and me and my girlfriend came to New Orleans because she hadn't really experienced New Orleans. I was like, let's spend the weekend, hang out. She went back to work, so now I'm doing work, driving back, the whole way. But you get both, great food and good travel. And
Where did y'all go when you were here?
oh God, to eat, to stay. We just
everything.
Me and her just spent the weekend in New Orleans.
Do you remember any of the landmarks? Did you see like certain bars or music?
We're both really into cocktails. So like we hit up some cocktail bars. We got some good food. She wanted to see, and I've been to a bunch of them. My mom was really into plantations and like all that growing up. So we went to the Laura plantation on the first day.
Yeah.
So we had the cars like, let's get out of the city while we're already out of the city.
You crossed that Huey P. Long Bridge?
Yeah. But it was great, man. My mom was always into the plantation stuff, and so I grew up driving because she was afraid of flying. So my great grandmother was in Augusta, Georgia, and there are probably hardly any plantations I wasn't drugged to as a child, and which is terrible for a 10-year-old boy to go to some plantation like these people are dead. Let's move on.
Yeah, this was
really, really, really nice and different. Like sugarcane plantation was totally different.
Mm-hmm.
It was knowledgeable. We got some cool stuff. We stopped on our first day in at something by the track. Liuz's, yeah.
Liuz's by the track.
Yeah. Phenomenal. Never
you had
been
their
there.
Was it known for? Barbecue shrimp.
That's what I got. Which I wouldn't even go in there thinking I wanted it, but I was like, you know what? Let's get that. Man, it was good.
Have you ever had barbecue shrimp?
I've had it, but this was the best.
Yeah.
Like, without a doubt. Like,
yeah.
It really, really was. Like the garlic sauce on it, and it was awesome. Gumbo was good. She got an oyster po' boy.
Ooh.
That she was raving about.
Yeah. Nice.
It was all really good. It was a nice way to start the trip.
Yeah.
My favorite, I'll just name drop my favorite cocktail bar, Jewel of the South.
Oh man.
So good.
Yep.
And I met Chris there.
Yeah. Mr. Hanna. Yeah.
And
he just got a James Beard Award last year. Yeah. We did an event there.
And,
yeah.
He won another one last year too. Like they're awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
We didn't do an event. We the first time I went there was maybe, I want to say it was like 21. We went to their courtyard, met Mr. Hanna. One of their chefs used to work. We used to have a shop in the Riverwalk. It was a different kind of layout for us. It was like this kiosk in the Riverwalk Mall
for Habana Port.
Yeah. And we only did it for a year. It's kind of a test concept.
I'd assume it's expensive.
Yeah. The rent was really expensive. Yeah. In terms of square foot. And we were hoping to capture like the cruise traffic and it just didn't pan out. There's a lot of foot traffic.
21, you said.
No, I'm sorry. That was in 18, I believe.
Okay.
Right, but one of the tobacconists we hired there was a guy named Phil. I won't name drop him, but he was always in the culinary world. He was a chef by trade, but was looking for a part-time job. So he worked with us, and we still follow him on Instagram. And he works at Jewel of the South. He's a chef there.
It's not just their cocktails. I tell everybody about it. Like their
food's awesome.
So
layout's awesome. Did you eat in the courtyard or did you eat inside?
So this was my first time inside.
Okay.
Because I always go at night. I always like get a cocktail and finish a cigar outside in the courtyard. But we went early, like the next day, like during the day, and it was a nice timing too. I was like, we can grab a bite. We'll have some cocktails. And when me and my girlfriend go on trips, I always like to find out, like, what was your favorite bite for the whole trip, and what was your favorite sip, really? Yeah. Not the whole experience, not all that, but, like, easily the favorite bite for the trip was at Jewel of the South.
Okay.
They're doing these sardines right now with, like, a creme fraiche, and I forgot what the bread was, but it was, like, house-made bread. Man, it was really, really good. And for me, like, the best drink, which I kind of knew was going to be there anyway, their Sazerac, and it's such a overdone thing in New Orleans. Yeah. But I like Sazeracs, but man, his Sazerac is good, like stupid good, and it's batched. And he said you can go on Esquire and look up. He gave the recipe to him, so like when I get back, I'm gonna try to make that because that was just stupid good, especially for a batched cocktail. But our Uber driver told us about Elysian Bar.
Yep,
and that was cool.
Yep.
We went there last day. We went there before I took her to the airport. Good, really good steak tartare there. Drinks very tasty. Beautiful place. I'd like to go like in the evening. We were kind of daytime. This LaCroix is like sneaking up on.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Like you're gonna
get
some feedback.
The carbonated water's coming up. Let me ask you this: did you hear about or get a chance to go to this place called Manolitos?
I walked by it, Manolito.
Oh man, that's one of my favorite spots.
It was closed Tuesday.
Yeah, they're closed on a Monday or Tuesday. I forget what day.
Yeah, whatever day I was there, I was like, damn it, I want to go.
That's an awesome spot.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Yeah, the guys behind it. I know Conrad. He's I think one of the partners. The whole story of that spot is really interesting. Manolito is named after this bartender they met in Cuba, in Havana. And so it was kind of a tribute to this guy. And man, it's just done so well. It's a small spot, but like you feel like you're dining and having a drink in like some little
cafe in
Cuba. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So next time you go down to the quarter, make it a point to visit
closed? Them. It's closed right now for like for a short term.
Oh,
for some
I didn't know
construction
that. Okay.
Something. Somebody told us about it. It wasn't just because I walked by, because another bartender was telling me about it. And he was like, I hate to even tell you about it because they're just closed for like a month. Like, but yeah, Tiny is, you're not even selling it.
I know.
Like, Tiny is like smaller than this studio, like the whole bar. It's little, but man, it looked great.
But it
really,
punches
really
above its weight for sure.
They have like Cuban sandwiches and cocktails and stuff. I think Chris told me about that place. And then after, I felt bad. I called my girlfriend last night and was like, I cheated on you. It's only been like an hour since you left, but I'm sorry. And she was like, "Oh yeah, where'd you eat?" And I was like, "Yeah, exactly." So I went to La Petite Grocery.
Oh, okay,
which we had talked about. We just didn't have time.
Yeah.
And then like after I was done with another cigar shop, I was like, "Well, I'm over here. I'll go to Petite Grocery," because I was hungry. Even though I told her like we were gonna go, we can go back. And this was my second time there, but man, it was awesome. I sat at the bar.
Too, yeah.
I was talking to the chef. He came out. I love the blue crab beignets. They're known for that. And I've had them before, but I swear to God, last night, they were like next level.
Oh, wow. They did something, huh?
Like, I was like, if I ate these 3 little beignets, gave you $100 and finished this cocktail, I would be happy. Like, and it would be worth every penny. And I had more, and it wasn't that much. But man, it was good. I had some like blueberry mint sorbet at the end. The bartender made me, he was like, "You like cocktails? Can I make you something?" He made a riff on a Negroni that was insane, like with some banana liqueur in it.
Wow.
It was a great time. I love eating in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, you can
you do it
eat too much. I mean, look at me. I'm a byproduct of that. Another spot, if you haven't been to put on your list next time you go there is it's simply called the Butcher.
Okay.
It's in the Warehouse District.
Okay.
Awesome spot.
We were staying there, like we were at a house hotel.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar.
International House Hotel.
Okay.
Been there a long time. I got like an upgrade, but we had a terrace. Like I kind of went with it when I was like looking at hotels. I was like, well, this one's got a terrace, so like even if the hotel's not that great, I could probably step out, have a cigar. Which I didn't have a cigar.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, it wasn't a terrace. It was like the whole freaking top of the building. It wrapped around the whole building. Our room was like the size of my last apartment.
What?
It was huge and it was awesome. There's a great bar downstairs, which Chris at Jewel was like, there's a little hotel bar called Loa. You should try. I was like, actually, that's where we're staying. He's like, oh man, I love that place. Like, they're really cool, and they're really good drinks. It's not like mind blowing, but having it right downstairs every night, like, man, it was great. So check out International House.
I know exactly now what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that in the CBD?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's business district.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
not too far from Warehouse, but yeah, I wouldn't say like, oh, I'll go there. But if you're walking around and you just want like a quiet spot to get really good drink, nice space, and unique drinks too, like some really good stuff.
I was going to ask, what drinks did you have there that you remember that you
we
really
drank
liked?
a lot last week, but I had one. I like Fernet.
Oh, nice.
They made I've really been like really into ginger beer lately. St. Arnold makes a ginger beer, which I hope comes here to Louisiana. It's just regular ginger beer, but it's snappy and it's awesome. So I'm looking for things with ginger beer in it.
Oh, cool.
But it was like ginger beer, Fernet, and I want to say mint. It was like three things like I wouldn't normally put together, and it was awesome. It was so good. Like I had that like 2 or 3 times. There was like a coffee banana drink that was wacky.
Okay.
I went back to the Fernet drink, but they were really good. My girlfriend really liked her drinks. It was cool. So I think she's hooked. Meredith and I will definitely be back, and we'll probably stay there. It was awesome. It was totally worth it. It wasn't that expensive. Even if we were in like a small room, like you're close to everything and you're far enough off the quarter, you don't have to hear anything. It was great. So
you mentioned St. Arnold. Is that Houston's like one of their first major microbreweries?
Yeah, it's definitely Houston's oldest.
Yeah. Because I remember I'm on their email list somehow, and it's just one of those I'm just always intrigued by learning. I must have had them like maybe mid 2000s, 2005.
They've been around for
a while.
But they're Houston's oldest. Do you know how old Real Ale is?
Wait, what's it called?
Real Ale out of Blanco.
Real Ale?
Mm-hmm.
No.
So they're Texas's oldest craft beer.
Okay.
And they are 1 year older than St. Arnold.
Okay.
So I would say like early 90s.
Okay.
I think. I'm off, but they're definitely Houston's oldest. They're great. They're huge.
Yeah.
They're really good about giving back and doing all kinds of like Houston centric things. They do a 5K every year. I think they're doing a 10K too. I think they do like 2 of them. There's running clubs. They sponsor stuff.
Cool.
Brock is the owner, original brewer. Really, really cool people. And they're known like for here in Louisiana, you have like a Beta root beer.
Right.
We have St. Arnold root beer. But just this like last year or 2, they came out with a ginger beer, and I'm like, never stop making this. It's so good.
Wow. Okay.
Like I gave up sodas a long time ago, but like I'd kill them if they stopped making that ginger beer. It's so good.
Okay.
So I'll drink it every now and then, but I mix with it a lot. Right before the pandemic, I was writing a business plan to open a cocktail bar, and then just surviving the pandemic with a bar. I was like, nah, never.
How did you navigate the lockdowns with your?
I sold my body a lot. You know.
Oh, okay.
OnlyFans.
Opened
an OnlyFans. Yeah.
Oh wow, the Chris Arolfo page.
Yeah, it's down now. Don't look
down.
that up. Or subscribe.
Yeah.
Gotta make that money. It was really. I won't say it was the most stressful thing, but it was tough. We were fortunate that I only have a couple employees. It's run by one person.
Okay.
Per shift kind of deal, or like 2 people a day. We had a food license, technically. So we didn't have to close under like the Houston or the Texas laws. So I could be open. We just had to move the tables. And luckily we were already, my bar is called Beers Looking at You. And it's really easy to explain to cigar guys. It's like a cigar shop for beer drinkers. So you can come in, you can have one there if you want, like in a lounge. You can mix and match. You can just grab one beer and go with it, or you can, because everything's in singles on the can and bottle side. And then I have 39 taps, and everything in the taps I can put in a crowler, seal the lid, and take it to go. All that was in place before 2020. So when that happened, it by default kind of made me the only place you could get good craft draft and take it home, because you couldn't drink it there anymore, but you could seal it and take it home. So like you might love whatever brewery around here, let's just say Parish, but you couldn't get it. Like if it was one of their one-offs that they only do in draft, like you couldn't get it, but I could. I was one of the only bars still buying kegs. There were parts of the pandemic where breweries weren't even putting stuff in kegs because it all had to go packaged, and it all had to go either out of their tap rooms or straight to stores. So I was both. I was a store and a bar. So I was fortunate for that. Really, really fortunate. And my employees were great through the whole thing too.
Yeah.
I didn't have to let anybody go. I didn't have to close a single day.
Nice.
I probably lost a couple years of my life with all the stress, but it was awesome. And the community really, really supported us too. So that was nice. And now that that's all kind of panned out and nice and steady, and I got great employees with me now too. It's time to focus on doing my cigars and letting the bar do its thing.
Yeah.
But it was an adventure, I don't know how it was for cigar shops here.
We were different. I know, like as a whole, as you probably have heard, the industry, did well.
Mm-hmm.
We were blessed.
Sure. Even
as an industry, right?
Yeah.
We were a little different, but that was on us. We limited, like we shortened hours.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We closed our lounge, although we could have still allowed it.
Have your hours gone back to pre-pandemic times?
Oh yeah. We're back to normal.
So like mine haven't. That's one thing that I kind of thought I would. I'll never change my Sundays. I was noon to midnight every day before the pandemic.
Okay.
Every day of the week. Now Sundays I'm noon to 8. And I think since post-pandemic, I don't just mean my bar. People do not go out on Sunday nights. So
it's recalibrated
that'll
people's
change.
trends, huh?
Yeah,
and behavior.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, still the same hours, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the trends have changed.
Interesting.
For bar drinking.
I saw the same thing happen with Katrina in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. That was a recalibration, right? Because before Katrina, a lot of bars were like 24 hours.
Mm-hmm. But even now, post-pandemic, like this is my first time post-pandemic to New Orleans.
Okay.
And some of them didn't open until 5 o'clock. Some of them were closing at 11. And not like Bourbon Street and all that, but like some of the nicer places that used to, you could just guarantee they'd be open until 2 or 3 in the morning. They weren't. And
it's not like the law changed. It was just that these businesses decided to use that as an opportunity to recalibrate. It's
probably trends. Yeah. If it made sense for me to be back open to midnight every night, I got no problem with it. My employees wouldn't mind some extra hours. Right. I'm sure,
extra tip money, whatever.
Yeah.
But so to answer your question, for us, it was different. We were a little more, I guess we were just apprehensive. We didn't know what was going on. So like we were selling through the door, even though we didn't have to. It made us change even our layout. Before we just had the walk-in humidor.
I noticed that.
Yep. Kind of format where people could grab their own. But because of COVID, we were a little more, I guess, sensitive to the hygiene aspect. So we went kind of like the jewelry case format. You know what you saw in this industry in the 50s, actually. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, it's a lot like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like if you ever visited like some of these old Manhattan shops.
Let's say New York.
Yeah, like I'm thinking De La Concha before they sold out. A lot of those shops were laid out that way, where things were behind glass. Things were in a jewelry case. So we used, I guess, COVID. It just kind of disrupted, and we redid the format. So now going forward, all of our shops are going to kind of have this glass case, jewelry case format, and we saw, and it wasn't, people thought, oh, were you having a lot of issue with theft? No, we didn't really have an issue with theft. It was breakage, right?
That's what I was going to ask.
Yep. And so because of this new
People
layout,
don't realize like how
people are rough.
delicate cigars are.
Especially if they're
And no
not
matter
celloed.
how good that cellophane smells, it's not going to tell you anything.
I know. Oh my God. Thank you for bringing that up. We try to tell people
So like when I see the cases, I'm like, nice. That's like extra nose protection. You know, like it's like
not just that. I've seen people, and you've probably seen it. Like we've had customers over the years that will take a cigar, put it in their mouth,
oh yeah,
test it, and it's like, that's not for me. And they try to put it back, and we're like, wait, hold on, you gotta buy that now. And you'd be surprised. Like we have some real characters. Like what? No, I just wanted to test out. I'm like, no, you can't do that.
That's what gets me. It's like it's not that like you call them out. They fight it.
I know.
They're like, oh well, I need to know. I'm like,
I need to crush the cigar to see how the tolerance. Man. Like, no, you don't.
When you can hear them crush it.
Oh my gosh! Like, so that was another real benefit of us going this layout, where we have less breakage. I mean, people don't want to smoke a cigar that's been out of other people's noses or mouths. So, and we have a lot of clients fought it at first. Change is bad for some people, but they were the smart ones that knew automatic. Like, I appreciate this. Now I can shop here with confidence, knowing that the cigars are protected. They haven't been mishandled by 20 idiots.
I think regular people don't even think about the fact that a lot of people like to just nose fuck a cigar. They just,
I know.
And if they saw that, they would probably stop and think like, maybe I don't want to touch. I don't need to touch that.
Right.
To get it, like if somebody was smelling my beer bottles, I'd be like, "Get the fuck out of my shop!" Like,
yes.
Like, why are you doing that? I need to lick the tab. Just, nobody needs that.
I need to gargle this beer.
Yeah.
And spit it back into the bottle before I could buy it. It's like, no, that's kind of the risk, right? Like, you just got to try it. Some companies are great that maybe they'll give you a sample, but like just from the bottle.
Oh yeah, well talk beer. Like we have 39 taps, but people take advantage of that too.
Really? How so?
Can I get another taste of that? You just tried it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
like, we call them we call them a lot of names, but there are people, and you can sense right away they want to taste like all 39 taps before they make their decision, and you can't. Like you're
that's like how many beers is that? Beer. How many beers would that be?
Like if you just like that's maybe a half an ounce, maybe a quarter an ounce. Like, and we're real quick on it. Here, just taste it. You can't taste it well enough.
That's like 4 bottles of beer.
Yeah, let's say it's half an ounce.
Worth. If you gave half an ounce
that's 20 ounces, that's a imperial pint, right?
Yeah,
for free. If they taste it, but we don't do that. But people like they have no shame. They're like, well, can't I try it? And we sell 5-ounce pours, like the little shot glass size.
Okay.
So you can do a flight, and I don't even care. You don't have to buy 4. Just get 1. If you're not committed. And after I did that, another bar nearby started doing the same size, small pours, and they immediately went away from, you can't even get a taste anymore.
Nice.
I still let people taste, but it's a strict 2.
Okay.
You can try 2.
Yeah.
And when I hand them their second one, I go, I can only let you try 2. We're giving away free beer. And they're accepting of it. They get it. But people do it. People would lick all the cigars if they could.
Yeah.
So the cabinets help, I think.
And it forces us.
Really good.
Yeah, it looks clean. It looks like it's a jewelry piece. Like it conveys.
Really good on
it, like it's something more like valuable, right? So there's a perception of value added. Also, it forces our tobacconists, our staff, to upsell and really walk with each customer, explain.
Yeah.
So we've seen a benefit to that. Like it's not detrimental really. And I know a lot of reps are telling other shops about our layout, and I hope it's like a standard.
Well,
right?
You guys were always kind of on top of that, if I'm remembering correct. Like in your other shop, you were one of the first shops I saw do a really good job of putting LED lights on all your shelves. When everybody should do that. I pushed for it in my own shop, and I got kind of pushed back at. But it's so nice, but still, like not everybody does it, and humidors can get dark.
Yep.
And if cigar boxes are up in a shelf, hidden back, you can't see in there. So that drives people to reach in and grab it and look at it and put it back and damage the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one-on-one, like you said, like walking along with them, that's great.
Yeah, it's almost like every customer gets their private guide or their sommelier of sorts, right?
I think like if I just wanted to run in and grab one, and you guys were really busy, I'd be kind of like.
So that is like
that would be
an
like
occurrence
the only...
that happens, and like so we're always scanning. If we know the regular, we'll even like quickly run, like our staff member will quickly run, have it at the counter ready, because we also don't want the regulars to waste their time either. So it's a balancing act.
Cigar people are pretty great about. Just if you're talking to someone, be like, hey, one sec, let me grab this for a guy.
Right.
Because you definitely know your regulars and what they want.
So no, we love this layout.
It's cool. It's pretty.
Thank you. And also it does help. Like if we do get a barrage of clients, the layout kind of lets them just walk around, explore while we're helping, the people who are already in there, and then get to them.
Yeah, even when I was waiting for you to, show up late.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was nice. It's very free flowing, but I didn't feel intimidated to just kind of walk around and look and see where you put everything. And I know there's a lot of times I go in humidors, I'm like, I have no idea where anything is, and you're just surrounded by walls of it, and you're like
intimidated.
Okay. And you got to ask anyway. Yours, at least, it's all next to each other and well lit.
Yeah. No, so we're happy with it, and going forward, we kind of want to use this as a base template. Our Metairie store is like a miniature version of it. I don't know if you've been there.
I went a long time ago. If it hasn't changed.
Yeah, but it used to be the walk-in humidor layout, but now it's like cabinets, the cabinets, and
I think I saw that in the pictures.
Yeah, but it's such a smaller footprint. Like it's tiny. But
this place is huge.
Yeah. Our the total, I guess, inhabitable square footage is 4,000 square feet. The humidor is about 2,200 square feet. So we're and it just feels like the staff can kind of like breathe, like we're not sardines in a can. Also, unlike our Metairie store, but they're just yeah. Hopefully we can increase that footprint too. And we don't even have a lounge at that spot, but that store, believe it or not, outdoes us like 60-40.
Still, I remember it was that way then. Yeah,
and it just has to do with the traffic count. Like that traffic count in that spot is awesome. So, but hopefully we can, if we find another space there, maybe expand one day. But
cool.
It's just really expensive real estate there. It's like $50 to $60 a square foot, which for Metairie,
that's kind of crazy for the area.
Yeah. But so it's that's kind of the barrier to entry for expanding our footprint there. But we're doing fine there. But I mean, going back to our layout, we're happy with it. We think it's doing well. Like we're seeing the numbers. We're fortunate to see some good growth every year, and that's even accounting for the inflation. Remember, who was it? One of our reps recently told us about like shop's performance, and like they complain like this. He was just talking about one shop. He didn't name the name, but this shop owner just kept saying like, "Man, I'm just seeing flat sales year after year." Like, what's going on? It's like, well, you got to do something.
You got to start looking at what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's kind of like our mantra.
The industry as a whole has been kind of on the rise. It's slowed down from 2021, 22.
Yeah, it's now we're seeing the flattening of the curve,
leveling.
Yeah. And I did a show first of the year, kind of give my assessment, my predictions of economic forecasts, because I'm just a business guy, and I probably do that every year now.
Good.
I think we're going to see even negative sales, and it's maybe slightly down.
I agree. I think
by import numbers.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, because I think the industry is still great historically, like still high numbers, but like now we're at the flattening of the curve. We might see a little dip, and I'm just basing that on I'm seeing more companies offer discounts, and that's a good telltale sign of how a company is performing, right?
Oh, even on the manufacturing side, and you make some labels too. Everything's more expensive.
Yeah,
and that's gonna affect. So our price, our retail price has to go up, but costs. Me selling a cigar at $10, it still costing me a lot of money. But I want to stay at that price point.
Right.
But
I think this is
within the next year.
Yeah.
Next year to two, that'll be 11. Just to catch it. But I went 10 years. I raised my prices once.
Wow.
And I was happy with that. If things keep trending, it'll be, I wouldn't say soon, but it's not the same. You just can't.
Right.
You can't. But then there's so many new guys that are coming out with $17, $18 cigars, and like stop that.
And that's not compelling for me. Like people like me, that's Like that's too expensive. I can buy like Chris's stuff at
Yeah.
a fraction of that price.
But even
point.
as a consumer, like I would sneer at it unless I know who
Mhm.
you are or
Right.
who you're working with. And like, okay, cool, yeah, I'm interested in that, but I'm not gonna buy a box probably soon. You know,
Right.
it's getting to it's already past a tipping point for price to me, but everything is more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But it's you know, I think it's still a hobby. You know, it always will be for people. So they have a chunk. You know, you dedicate. I can spend $100 this month on cigars or whatever's in your head. You know, you got a price. So I'm still gonna spend my money on my cigars. I might just smoke a few better cigars, or you know, I need a lawnmower cigar. I'll just get a bundle of this. You know, you won't stop smoking.
Right.
Just
You might shift your price point. That's why I have this theory of like a lot of our elderly clientele, and I'm gonna say like 80s to 90s that shop with us. When they started smoking cigars, their normal, you know, what they view as a normal price was
you have a
about.
whole clientele section of 90-year-olds. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
we have a few. Yeah, but I'm saying like
Scumbo, man. Yeah.
no, they stick with like the $2 to $3 cigar. For them, that's normal, and they don't want to spend above that. So back when they were like say in their 30s or
when they were smoking,
20s,
yeah.
that $2 to $3 cigar was an awesome cigar.
True.
So like for a lot of people, they're stuck on whatever they classify as normal price point, right?
Mhm.
And they're not going to budge. So over time with inflation, that means the trade-off is the quality has to go down.
Yeah. If you're
So
just
that's why a
gonna
lot of
stick
them
with
like
price.
the factory throwouts or the factory smokes.
I'd agree. It's
But maybe 40, 30 years ago, they were smoking like, say, like the Fuente 858s that were in that $2 to $3 range back in the early 90s.
absolutely.
So I think going forward, I mean,
Like Zeno, before Davidoff went to the Dominican, when Zeno came to the States with his Zeno brand, it was the most expensive cigar in humidors. It
and what was the price
$4.
point? It was $4? Yeah, yeah.
1980, 1980 to 1982, somewhere in that window.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. But also to your end, I started smoking in 2003 ish.
$5 was like the good
my point.
sweet spot.
$5 was like, man, I can always get a $5
Yeah,
cigar.
that's really
If
good.
I bought a $7 or $8 cigar, it was choice.
Yep.
It was like, man, that's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I will agree that I feel like that 8 to 10 range is where a good cigar should be.
Right.
But when you look at all the things that go into it, it's like, okay, yeah, they should be like 12, 13. But it's hard. You want to hold on to that, but it's just impossible. And quality is the trade-off. If I want a $5 cigar now,
That's right.
it's not
Mm-hmm.
what I'm offering. It's not what I want to smoke most of the time.
Like this cigar for you, if you were doing this in say 2005, it probably would have cost MSRP was probably about $5 or $6.
If you remember what I was selling in 13, when I came to market, $650 was my short Robusto, $750 was my Robusto. So
So it may have been cheaper.
just cost of business, like
Yeah.
it has to be $10. But
Yeah, to maintain your margin.
but yeah, like if I was a smoker, I'd happily pay $8 for that in 2004 prices, you know. But yeah, it's changed. But everything costs more.
Yeah,
Let's
what
not talk
was
about
like the
groceries,
eight?
you know?
Yeah, what was like the $8 to $10 sweet spot? Now it's like 12, 15.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
And so to your point, I bring this up because you're talking about these newer
absolutely.
entries starting at like 17, 15, 17, 18.
Or even like if you're just totally new and your information is not out there, it's really hard for me to say 12 is okay. Not because I want to pay less, but you know, I'll try it once, but if I don't have a great time with it, it's going to be real hard for me to go back. If it's good, I'll keep an eye on what you're doing as a consumer.
Right.
Because I still smoke everybody else's cigars. I can't stop.
Yeah.
There's a couple of subscriptions that I sign up for
Oh, nice.
because I want to know what other people are making and what other tobaccos are being used. I really wanted to smoke your cigar because I really like to know what Hostos is doing.
Yeah.
That he's not selling me, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Well, no, man, it was great seeing you today. I guess we'll be wrapping up now. Before we sign off, we do have well, is there anything you want to bring up that maybe
No,
we didn't expand on? That you want to get?
anything-
Like, how do people know you?
I just
or
wanted to
get-
hang out and smoke.
Yeah, man.
But really, I am a very small company. I am the company. So if people are interested, the best thing you can do is just check out habanaport.com, of course, which you still have some of my original stuff, which you should really get.
And I'm sure we'll.
It's got age, and then I hope so, man.
Yeah.
No, but really, if you have any questions about the brand or anything, the best thing, all the social media comes to me.
Okay.
It's not like I hired somebody overseas to be like, oh yeah, we sell those.
Right.
Nope, it's me.
Awesome.
So if I didn't answer, I'm probably asleep or,
What is it? Cabal Cigars?
Cabal Cigars, and then all my social media is under Cabal Cigars.
Okay.
So I'm redoing my site right now. It's still up, but it's the old site. But hopefully by the show, which is March 22nd, I'll have at least a new clean site where you can see who's got my product. But the best is shoot me a, hey, I live here. How do I get it? And you guys ship, so you're an easy one.
Yeah.
Hey,
And we ship singles too. So if someone wants you to buy
cool.
one
That's really good
single,
to know.
we offer that too.
Yeah, and I'm only in a couple guys that ship, so
Okay.
that's the best. And I will happily do it, but I never plan on being on every shelf. I just want to be with the companies that get it. You guys get it. So, I'm tiny, but reach out, man. I'm making cigars for you, for cigar smokers.
Well, I can say with my testimony, this is awesome. Like, I think this is probably one of the best Hostos made cigars. And that's including some of our stuff right now.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's presently offered.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried a lot of his stuff, and I'm really every time I smoke all of his stuff, it just seals the deal that I'm really happy with my blend too. Like it speaks to my palate, but every other cigar I smoke from him, like yours, also speaks to he's a great guy to be working with.
Yeah.
So I'm super happy with what I've come out with him, and I'm really looking forward to what's coming out next. And I'm really, really happy with my original KBF stuff too. Is and always will be the same. I got into this business to make a cigar that I could keep making, and these two companies are the guys that'll do that for me, KBF and Hostos.
And I know I've been talking about Hostos, but yeah, not to forget about the Kellner name for people who don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's cigar
I keep
royalty.
saying KBF, but yeah.
Yeah, he's cigar royalty,
Hendrik
right?
Kellner Jr. is the man, and like I said, I was his first client, and I'd never plan on working without him. He'll always be the original Cabal. The Corona Gorda that I still sell right now is my original blend in the original Vitola. Short Robusto will be back behind it, and we have some collabs to do. He's got some great clients under him now that he's making great cigars with too. So it's nice, man. I think both Hendrik and Hostos are on the level of making great cigars for great people, and it's just awe-inspiring to be so close to royalty on both ends, man. Kellner's is cigar royalty, he really is, but he also knows and is passionate about what he does, and Hostos is young and hungry and really, really talented, and he comes from great tobacco too, man. The Quesada family knows what they're doing, and
Exactly.
just to be able to call them up just like you, and get what you want, and sell it and make it for other people is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We're doing what we love.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's what I won't stop doing. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to do this with you, but I'm glad to look forward to the future too. So
Yeah, man. Oh, it's awesome. So congrats and glad to see you back.
come get a beer when you're in town.
I will. I want to go to your beer establishment.
Yeah.
So before I go to Houston, I'll reach out to you. I want to check out that spot.
Yeah, I'm
'Cause
south,
I'm
down
a
by
beer nerd
NASA,
too.
But
Yeah.
and we're right next to a cigar shop, so we can grab a crowler and go next door and
Absolutely.
whatever.
Awesome. Sounds like a good time. So before we sign off, we have a lightning round. Would you indulge
Sure.
me? Yeah, pretty simple. All right. So number 1, Tabasco, Crystal, or other hot sauce.
Just for lightning round, I know I'm already screwing up the whole thing.
It's okay.
You just want my quick answer?
Yeah, the
Boom.
quick
Okay.
answer. Yeah, yeah.
Then Tabasco.
Okay. Number 2, favorite vacation destination.
Somewhere cold.
Okay.
It's just snow.
Okay.
If I can get the snow, I like snow.
Nice. Number 3, who would you want to smoke a cigar with, dead or alive?
Rod Serling.
Oh, what?
Rod Serling.
Good answer.
It's on my phone.
Dude. I didn't know he was a cigar smoker.
I just look at it and I'm like, man, we should smoke together.
I'm a big, I love,
dead, so.
yeah. I love the Twilight Zone.
He smoked cigars from time to time. He was definitely a cigarette smoker, as you saw in like every episode.
Yeah.
Not every, he was later in it, but yeah, he'd smoke from time to time. But just to sit and one-on-one with him would be awesome.
That's gonna be my answer. I'm gonna steal that, dude.
Okay.
I love Twilight Zone.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
Do they still do the marathons on Sci-Fi every so often?
So they do. Yeah, Sci-Fi still does it, but Pluto TV. I'll plug somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Pluto TV has a whole like Twilight Zone channel.
Oh man,
it just plays all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mystery Science Theater channel on there too. That's pretty badass.
Cool.
But yeah, no. I think for like Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's right.
They do it.
Yeah.
And July the 4th.
Yeah,
it's like
I
a
think
Twilight
so too.
Zone marathon. It's totally worth it.
It's not fair. I had time.
They moved it all to Paramount Plus, and like, it's cool because you can watch it all because it was a Paramount production.
Okay.
But there's ads.
Oh.
And it's nice because like it's like in the breaks in the show, but I'm like, I own them all on DVD. I have like the Ultimate Collection, which he has like cigarette bumps in it and stuff too. Oh. It's like a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yeah.
What's that worth? And I'm like, wow, we have come a ways. But
oh man.
But you can watch it on there anytime.
That's
cool.
It.
That's lightning. We're done.
No, two more. So number 4, for industry people, I ask a 2-part.
Okay.
What is your desert island cigar from your own portfolio? And then what's your desert island cigar from someone else in the industry? Put you on the spot.
I know it's tough. Any time of the day, short Robusto.
Okay.
My original short Robusto.
Okay.
With KBF. But I feel that's not fair to both factories.
I know.
So Initiative's the next one.
Okay. Fair enough. That's
two factories.
The time.
Without it, I for sure right now I'm smoking the Initiative almost every day. Also because I'm low on my short Robustos.
Oh.
From another manufacturer, Desert Island.
Yeah.
Available or just like a
just any like
T110.
T110.
T110. Original T110. I really did like the broadleaf for some time on this last Tatuaje round of them, but probably T110.
Yeah.
Or a Padron 26 number 35 natural.
Ooh, nice.
I like short Robustos.
Yep. Yeah, we do well with that size.
Yeah.
Number 5, last one. Who would you want to see here on a future podcast episode?
Cigar?
Anyone.
Or
just anyone.
Anyone.
Doesn't have to be cigar.
I mean, anybody. I think any manufacturer I would dig. I as a cigar nerd, as we started with, I love just open talks with cigar guys. Like, I love that. But I really dig what you do with non-traditional guys. So, like, you being so close to great Cajun food, I'd love to see some chefs on here.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we're talking to a few, so that's hopefully down the pipeline. Yeah.
I think that's very cool. And I like cocktails, too. So, like, chef bartenders, I think, would be the short.
We have that in the pipeline, too. So
I think they're all very coexisting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Chris, I appreciate you coming in today.
It was fun, man.
It was awesome.
Very, very cool.
You're always welcome. So
great.
With that,
I will be back.
Yeah, awesome. Well, everyone take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.
I guess.